We throw around the word addicted all the time. You might say you're addicted to endless scrolling or binge-watching true crime. But clinically speaking, a bad habit is a universe away from a severe substance disorder. Labeling every excessive behavior as an addiction carries a real risk. It trivializes conditions that cause devastating, life-altering suffering. To prevent that, the medical community has to draw a firm boundary. When they officially recognize a new behavioral issue, like gaming disorder, they are making a major scientific declaration. Global health organizations, like the World Health Organization, are constantly forced to evaluate our modern technological habits to keep diagnostic manuals up to date. To cross the threshold from a bad habit to an officially recognized disease, a behavior has to survive a rigorous 3-part scientific test. This flowchart proposed by researchers outlines the 3 strict hurdles a behavior must clear to be classified as an addiction. The very first hurdle is clinical relevance. A lot of people engage heavily in certain behaviors, like playing video games every night, without suffering serious harm. These individuals might look obsessed, but they keep their jobs, maintain relationships, and fulfill their societal obligations. True clinical relevance requires a total loss of control. We're talking about behaviors that result in financial ruin, shattered families, or severe physical danger. A medical addiction is measured by the sheer destruction it inflicts on a person's life, rather than the amount of time they spend doing it. If a behavior causes that level of destruction, it moves to the second criterion, theoretical embedding. The behavior has to fit into established psychological frameworks of addiction. This graph maps a core concept called incentive sensitization, plotting the difference between liking something and wanting it. Over time, the subjective pleasure, the liking, steadily drops, but the compulsion to get it, the wanting, rises sharply. That spike in wanting is driven by classical conditioning. Environmental cues, a specific location, a time of day, a notification sound, become neurologically linked to the behavior and trigger sudden, intense urges. You cross the psychological threshold of addiction when that compulsive seeking continues, even if you actively dislike the behavior and the negative consequences it brings. The brain's motivational reward system is hijacked, turning a conscious choice into an involuntary compulsion. But psychology alone isn't enough. The final criterion demands empirical biological proof that the physical machinery of the brain has altered. This diagram represents a key piece of that proof, the triadic neural imbalance model. A healthy brain maintains an equilibrium between 3 specific networks. In an addicted brain, the impulsive system, housed in the striatum, becomes hyperactive. It relentlessly drives automatic, habitual behaviors. At the exact same time, the reflective system in the prefrontal cortex becomes hypoactive. Its ability to inhibit those impulses and evaluate long-term consequences fails. Finally, the interoceptive system in the insular cortex translates internal physiological signals into intense, inescapable cravings. It completely overwhelms the weakened reflective system. Without physical evidence of this specific neurobiological shift, a behavior fails the standard for a medical addiction. So what happens when we run a modern obsession through this test? Take problematic social media use. It certainly feels compulsive to many. While it might cause distress and fit some psychological models, the biological data for social media use remains mixed. It currently fails the final empirical evidence test, whereas gaming disorder has produced the neurobiological proof needed to pass all 3. These strict standards act as a necessary filter. They stop the medical community from turning widespread technological anxieties into clinical diagnoses. By requiring documented clinical distress, a proven psychological drive, and physical brain changes, we can focus resources on treating true emerging diseases rather than judging how people spend their free time.